and give us that, fill us in on that. And all classes tonight will meet staying here, except I believe Rita's class, the small Briar and Baylor's class, they're going to meet. So that's where I'll put that. And anyway, we'll begin our worship. We'll begin our Bible study with Colton.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for everything you've given us and blessed us with, and thank you for this week of good weather and good temperatures you've blessed us with. Please be with those who are going through difficult times and who have lost loved ones. Please comfort them and be there with them. Please be with this nation as we are going through difficult times right now, and just as we figure stuff out. Please keep us safe as we go back to our houses tonight and travel out and about tomorrow. Thank you for your Son, Jesus, who died for us on the cross and for the forgiveness of our sins. Through Jesus' name, amen.
Reading how I love to proclaim it, reading by the blood of the Lamb, reading through its infinite mercy, it's shouting forever I am. Redeemed, redeemed, redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, redeemed, redeemed, it's shouting forever I am. I know I shall see in his beauty the King in whose law I delight, who lovingly guardeth my footsteps and giveth me song till the night. Redeemed, redeemed, redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, redeemed, redeemed, is shouting forever I am.
First of all, let me say to the elders and Mark and them, appreciate them letting me have an opportunity to do this tonight. Really enjoy it, and I hope we can get something out of this tonight. For my 90 seconds of power, I want to ask you a question. And this hit me, I guess, on this trip this time, especially on the way home. And I thought, are mission trips really worth it? And, you know, if you look at the Bible, Paul is a good example. He went on 3 mission trips. And I like to say 4 because, you know, he made a trip to Rome he was imprisoned over there, a house arrest. But, you know, that was still a mission trip because look what he done over there for the church and how many he converted while he was in Rome. All the apostles, all the disciples in the Bible in Jesus' time, and you know, and Jesus also, he made trips, and I call them mission trips because he was on a mission. He was on a mission to bring in the new covenant, the new law that his Father wanted him to bring to this earth for all of us, not just the Jews, but also the Jews and the Gentiles. And I looked at it in a sort of a different way, and I said, you know, each day of our lives as Christians, we make mission trips. If you leave your house and you go somewhere, you're on a mission trip because people's watching you. You may not talk to them about God. They may not say nothing to you about God, but they're watching you, and they're watching your attitude, and they watch how you act, and especially if they know you're a Christian. So you're on a mission to show them what it means to be a child of God. We also, we really don't think of it in that sense, I don't guess. And I wish we would start. I know I am going to start thinking of it on being on a mission trip. But this trip really opened my eyes in a way. I can't remember. It's my 6th or 7th trip over there. I think 6, but I'm not sure. And I hate to say it this way, but in this trip, before this trip, I was getting a little discouraged. Because you go over there and you work for 10 to 12 days at a time. You study with these people. they know and understand, and you got them just this close to being Christians, but you cannot get them to take that final step. And I couldn't tell you how many in these years that I've got there and I've told them, I said, you're ready. You're ready. You need to become a Christian. But they just will not get out of that tradition that they have in their lives over there. But this trip with me and Eddie was a great, wonderful trip. I'm not going to get into it right now. I'll explain it a little bit more of why that it really brought to light to me why mission trips are really worth it, no matter how many it takes. And yes, the answer is yes. Mission trips in our lives are worth it. And we should live our lives every day as it is a mission trip for the Word of God, for Christ, and for His church. And we need to think of it every minute of every hour of every day in that way. And the last I'll say to this is all the money, and I don't want this to sound bad, but this is the way I put it. All the money that we've spent, all the money that I've been able, through y'all's generosity and the church's generosity, to spend to go over there has been well worth it, because it saved one soul. If we save one soul, it's worth. If you spend $1 million, it's worth it, because you know where that soul's going. And Jesus told us that in His parable in Matthew 18, 12 through 14, in the parable of the lost sheep. And that's the way I look at it now. It opened my eyes to look at it in such a way that if I go over there and I'm trying to find that lost sheep, all the ones that's already obeyed, if they stay faithful, I know where they're going to be. But that one lost one that's left, I understand that they're going to be lost unless I do what I can, or we do what we can to bring them back in the fold. So let's treat every day of our lives as a mission trip, because they are well worth it. You know, I know things goes wrong in our lives sometimes, and we do make mistakes, and God understands that. Christ, He made it to where He knew we wasn't perfect. If we have problems in our lives and sins arise and we need to repent, if it's private, go to God in private. If it's public, make a public repentance. If you need to be baptized, we can help you with that tonight also, but also just to study. Any one of us will be glad to study with you. If we can help you in any way, we ask you to come forward as we stand and sing.
Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you washed in the blood, in the soul cleansing blood of the Lamb? Are your garments spotless? Are they white as snow? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
Well, I wished Eddie was here tonight. I was going to get him to make some comments too to help this last out. And of course, I like to talk, so it may last out more than 8 o'clock. So if I don't pay attention to the clock, somebody start raising your hands and wave at me. Let me know it's time to quit. Not you, Larry. But anyway, we had a great, wonderful trip. This is, like I said, this is probably the best trip I've been on since I've been going over there. Didn't start out too good again. If y'all remember when we left that Tuesday before we left, there were storms in our area, and they were still hanging around. But when we got on the plane in Birmingham to go to Atlanta and got up in there, we were shook the whole way. It was turbulence all the way. Then we turned around and got on the plane in Atlanta going over to Amsterdam, and probably 3/4 of the way over was turbulence all the way. They even shut down service to us on the plane because the stewardess couldn't even stand up sometimes when it was going on. So it was a rough trip going over. Then in Amsterdam over to Bucharest, we hit just a little bit of turbulence, but we had no rest. And that makes for, if you can't get no sleep at all on the plane, it makes it tough when you first get over there. you might get three hours a night sleep because of the jet lag and time difference, and it takes about 4 days to get over that. But we got over to Bucharest. Christine picked us up. We went to Patesh on Thursday, got there Thursday evening, and left Friday morning and headed over to Craiova. And we got to Craiova, and Cataline, the young man that's sitting right there, he's a great young man. He's still a little bit immature, but he wants to learn all the time. He's got a job now, so we didn't get to see him as much, but the first night there, he went out to eat with us. And we studied with him there again. He asked questions, which is great. Studied with him there in Craiova at the restaurant. He actually did not get to come to services Sunday because he worked. Over there, if you got a job, you have to go to it, and he hates that, but he understands, and we understand that you got to work, you got to make a living. And that's Bianca in the middle. She was my interpreter this time. Basically, everywhere I went, she was the interpreter for me in Patesh. Now, she interpreted a little bit in Craiova, but Addie was my main interpreter in Craiova. We had a study. We had a study with them Friday evening, I believe. Well, that's what I wanted Eddie to be here. It was a Friday evening study with them, and also brought in food to eat with them. Y'all, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to talk about them because y'all, they're so zealous. I mean, those that's been here, Ryan, been over there. If y'all been over there, if you see how they have to travel, most of them walk. If they don't walk, they got a tram system they can use, or they can ride a bus. But to get to us at the church, some of them travel a pretty good distance. May live on the outskirts of town or right on the edge of town, but they're there. And if you can see that, all the food there, they feed you good. We had one time there at Craiova, I can't remember if it was Sunday, I think it was Sunday after church, we had stuffed peppers. And they're good. That's all I can tell you. They was good. Then they have cabbage rolls. They're good. You know, yeah, I didn't think we'd eat the food, which Ryan won't eat the food, if y'all know that. So next time we're going to carry him a bunch of peanut butter crackers. Let him survive on them. But they have some real good food with us. This gentleman right here, his name is Mihai also. Let's see, I'll go back one. You can see her. That's them right there. This is Cataline's mother. And then that's his stepdaddy. Mihai is his stepdaddy. They'd been studying with him. And when we got there, he told Eddie he wanted to be baptized. Said he was ready to be baptized. And he truly was, y'all. He got there, he was ready. They showed up at the church Sunday evening, baptized him. Wrong one. And if you ever seen a light on somebody that's been baptized, you'd have seen it on Mihai. He's a rough-looking man, and you'd think, well, this guy in Romania, and they wanted so bad for us to come to their house and eat with them, but we just didn't have the time. We had to come back. We had our studies and stuff. So I think you'll see here in a few more pictures that they brought us some food to the church before we left. We left Wednesday coming back, and they brought us some to the church. The next slide. This lady, this is we call her Mama Florentine. She's been at Craiova probably since Harvey's been going over there, if not awful close to it. A few years ago, she lost her husband, and we've talked about that. So she tried to move to Germany to be with her family. That's where most of her kids are. She just couldn't take it. She had to come back. So she's come back and she's and she teaches classes. You'll see some more pictures of her. And this is her sister-in-law here that come in. But this lady right here is in her mid-80s. I want to say 86 was her age. And I'm sorry, y'all, I can't pronounce their names. There's a few of them I can now, but some of them I just can't. But anyway, Eddie was supposed to have a talk with her. He got tied up in Valestancia, and he called me and asked me if I had a lesson I could give because he had a class to do. So I said, yeah, well, we had a study. He also had a study with her. And this will give you an idea of sort of what you're up against when you go over there. She knows the Bible, she's been studied with, and she understands. But she said she can't be baptized because she's got to put food out for the dead. Over there, they have a big thing, and I think there's a couple other religions that does it, but they call it Day of the Dead. They put food out for them, for the dead to eat. And I asked her, I said, well, what about that? She said, oh, I don't believe they eat it, but we got to put it out to them. And I said, well, you just contradicted yourself right there. I said, you don't believe in the tradition, but you're going to stick with it. And she started, and I told her, I said, look, you don't wait too late. She said, oh, we get the Day of the Dead, I'll be baptized. Miss Florentine and the other lady was helping me a lot with her too, explaining to her. Well, by the time I had left, and Eddie got to talk to her a little bit, and she said, well, I'm going to wait till Easter. And I said, I got to have a new dress to be baptized in, so I'm going to wait till Easter. Well, I know you've heard, but we baptized 5 people, and we'll get into the other part of, I married a couple, we'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, when we got back home, we got pictures, and she was baptized the day after we left. She decided I wasn't waiting to Easter. So we were involved in 6 baptisms and the marriage, but y'all, there's no feeling like it to know that these people, they know what's right. They got a tradition they want to follow all the time, but to get them out of it, to let them know and understand it, that we don't go by tradition. We don't live by tradition. And this was after I talked to her. This is the class we had. We'd started out talking a little bit, and there were several more come in. This is Mr. Luca. Mr. Luca's health is not good at all, but he does his best to be at every study we have, to be at every service that they have. He does his best to be there. And that's Addie. You can't see him yet. We'll see him, but that's Addie right there. That was my interpreter. We had great studies with these folks. They want to listen and they'll ask questions. And I really enjoyed this lesson with Mr. Luca because he speaks up too. And because he's one of the main men over there. And he started with Harvey, and he preaches when he can, and he feels like it, and does a lot of the work over there around Craiova. So, y'all, it's a blessing to be around these folks. That's Addie. You can see him a little better there. And then Mihai and Kathleen's mother come in a little later that evening and was studying with us. But we had good studies. And if you'll notice, the table is a ping pong table. If you ever get to go over there, don't play ping pong with them because they are good at ping pong. I thought I was pretty good, but nah, I'm not nothing. And the kids love it when they beat you because they will laugh at you. But and they'll call you old too. I told them that hurt my feelings. But we had a good time. This is the meal that she brought to us. This was good. This was good. They told us that we were going to have Jell-O. And I said, oh boy, Jell-O. They brung it in, and it might be Jell-O to them, but it's fat to me, and it's full of meat and vegetables. And the first bite I took, I sort of excused myself and said, I'm sorry, but I can't eat this. And I didn't feel as bad because Juana, and y'all remember Juana, she told me I don't eat it neither. So I said I didn't feel as bad. Everything else was good, but that was the one bad part of the lunch that we had with them. All right, we went to Cherryosh. Cherryosh is the poorest village that we go to and we have a church at. The first trips we made, I don't know if you remember, the pictures we had, the church, you turn off a dirt road, down a dirt road, and the church is down at just about 100 yards maybe on the right. Well, right before you get to it is a community well. That used to be how they got their water, was that well. For about 3 years it's going, and now they finally got a water system in. So they got some pumps in, so they're doing a little better there. We had a youth devotion there at Cherryosh the first day. That's Saturday. And we bust the kids in. They bring them in from Craiova and from Valistantia. I'll show you in a minute how many, but I wanted you to show our cooks that was taking care of everything. Addie was doing the cook, most of the grilling. Eddie was sampler, and Bianca was getting all the other stuff ready for them to eat. I couldn't tell you how much food we fixed, but there was none left. We had 40, I believe it was 48 or 50 people in all, 30-something kids. 36 or so kids showed up, and we got a late start, so Addie had doing the cooking, so we started playing games with them. Or Mihai did. He had games set up for them to play. They really enjoy that. You'll probably see him. I think that's Dan sitting there. He's from Valistantia. He drives them around a lot. We pay them like you'd pay a taxi for them to bring the kids and everything. Because gas over there, when we got there was right at $6 a gallon. And when we left, it went up, and it went up to about $6.50 to $6.75 a gallon. They go by liters, and their lay, it was like $7.35 a lay for 1 liter of gas. So when you average it out, it come out to about $6.50 a gallon. That's Mihai. That's Addie's brother. He's the one that works with the youth real. I mean, he is really good with the youth. He does most of just about basically all the devotions and gets all the kids together, tries to once a month. He had bought them a bunch of games to play. A little story is they got out there, right before they was getting out there to play, I had walked out. I done the devotion, the kids was outside. I walked outside, and I got there just in time to watch one kid slang another kid to the ground. And I said, oh boy, here we go. And the other one jumped up and ran and grabbed him. Well, I got over there with him, and I told him through Bianca, I said, look, guys, if you want to fight, you got to fight me before you fight each other. And I don't think that scared them too bad because they sort of walked off. But anyway, they didn't fight no more. But Mihai does a great job with them. He's working in a bank now there in Cherryosh. That's where he lives. No, I'm sorry, he lives in Valistantia, and he works in a bank in Valistantia. You'll see his wife, and I think you'll see both his kids here in just a minute. But he got them playing. They'd been playing games, and I got a habit. When me and Keith went, we carried them a bunch of candy. We carried them peanut M&Ms. And this is the first trip I've made over there that they actually now have peanut M&Ms over there, but I still had some, so I carried 2 big 64-ounce jugs of them, and I went out there after they'd eat and everything. They was playing more, and I started giving them out, and I didn't want to go shy, so I was giving a little bit out to each one of them. And when I got through, I looked, and I had over a half jar left, so I said, I'll go give them more. And I got tickled because the first few I went up to, they still had some in their hand. They seen me coming to give them more, and they put them in their pocket. And they wanted more, so I think I filled at least one pocket up with peanut M&Ms for the kids. But what we need to understand is anytime we do something like this, these kids don't get sweets. Very seldom do they get any kind of suite. Very seldom, unless it's at a youth function, do they even get cold drinks. They can't afford it. If you're retired, I think you get about a little over $100 a month, which is over $400 lei a month to live off of. And most of these families, especially in these villages, they don't make much more than that themselves in their jobs. So when you give them a treat, it tickles them to death to get stuff like that. And I tell you what, it just makes you, sometimes it makes you ashamed that we have so much and they have so little when you go over there and you look at them. That young man right there, he speaks pretty good English. And one day, if we can keep him coming, one day I'm sure he'll be a good Christian. But the problem is their parents don't go, and once they grow up, sometimes they leave, so you lose them. And I hope we don't. That's Mihai's oldest boy right there, playing the game with them. He had several games. This is church. On Sunday, I went to Cherry Oss to preach, and that's Mama Florentine right there. She goes there every Sunday to teach the class, and when you see the village, you wouldn't think that you would get that many young people out of that village to come to church, but they have one of the largest groups of young people at church there, and I believe there was 2 more girls that come in too. This young man right here, his daddy and mother are Christians. I can't remember, I just lost his name. It starts with an R. But he, about 3-4 years ago, he had an accident and he lost it. They had to cut his leg off. He had a lot of problems with it. In fact, he left the church. He got real sore at the church and left. But he's back now, and him and Addie, and you'll see Addie right there. That's him sitting right there. That's that young man's daddy, and his mother's there. And this is Addie. And we've talked about Addie a lot. His family has a lot of problems. He has something like, I call it like multiple sclerosis. He can't hardly walk. You have to help him get up and get down, but he does the preaching. He calls. He gets the people there, gets things set up. His wife had a lot of problems when we was first going over there. She ended up losing a leg. She comes when she's able. He has a daughter that also has lost a leg, and she does a lot of the driving. Trying to get her to go. She'll come in church every once in a while, and you try to get her to go, but she's wanting to be stubborn right now and not really want to come in and study with you. I think they've had a few studies with her, but it's not took hold yet, and I hope one day it will. But we had a real good service at Cherry Oss with them. This is part of the new building. The room that you've seen the kids are in is right behind where Addie was sitting. That used to be the main room that we had services in. That was part of the old, before they redone it. And when they redone it, this room here is, you can make 2 parts out of it and close it off right here. And then to this side over here is a walkway. It goes down to a bathroom. They all but one church over there now has bathrooms. One, Valley Stanchion, we'll see it here in a minute. They still have an outhouse, but that's fixing to change pretty soon. But we still, over time, we still got some work. This church, this building is going to have some work done to it. They're trying to figure out what it's going to cost and when they can get it done. But we had a great lesson that day, great service. The youth there was really, there it goes. Uh-oh, is that, yeah. While we was in Cherry Oss, Addie said that he wanted to go visit a gentleman that actually lived, in the wintertime he lived in Crova, had an apartment. And in the summertime he went to his house he had in the village. I can't tell you the name of the village. It's near the Bulgaria border. but he wanted to go see him and keep an eye on him, check on him, because he also, you can see him right there. He don't get around good. He can't walk good. But the reason I wanted to show this picture, you see this little garden area right here. These little rows here, he has made him a cart that he sits on, and he's got a cart he pulls behind him, and he gardens all this. This is his stuff. That black line there is water line that he's put out himself. He's got a maze of this stuff, and it's amazing what he does in the shape that he's in. That's him right there. And he got the one walking stick there, but he was I don't know exactly what you'd call it in the Communist Party, but he was more like a big supervisor over a plant or over works. So he has a pretty good income in his retirement. He carried us out back. And this here is the other part of his garden that he takes care of all summer. He has a greenhouse he uses. This up here, this triangle that I'm leaning against, he runs water lines up to here. They go down, and he has a system that he cuts on and off and waters each thing. That's his life. And that's what keeps him alive, is he does this day after day after day during the summer till he goes back. And he's got a dog that when we first went through the gate, I thought I was going to be eat, because he's a big dog, but all he wanted was petting, and he come up to us. But now I would dare not touch that man in front of that dog, because I figure he would hurt you very bad. But that was his. That's what he does, and he was happy to see us. I don't think. That's in his house. If y'all remember, we talked about their fireplaces and stuff. Well, that's the one in his house, and that's the stove part of it. And this is the first one I really seen. We've seen some others, but this one, that's their burners. And these little circles that you see, they take off and put their pots on. If they got a big pot, they take several of them off and put it on there. But it's truly amazing how them things work. But we sat down to talk to him and study, and it was an experience, I can tell you, to talk to this man. Because when we first down, Addie asked him, said, "Well, do you have any questions? What do you want to talk about?" And the first thing out of his mouth was, he said, "Well, tell me when the 1,000-year reign's going to begin." And I said, "Addie, you take that one," because I tell you, Revelations is a tough book. I'll never truly understand it all till we get to heaven, but he wanted to talk about it. But I did tell him, I said, that's not going to happen. I said, Jesus is not coming back to this earth. We're going to meet him in the sky, and he wouldn't have none of it. And he got mad, and he got to yelling. And I made it worse, because I got to laughing at him. When he yelled at me, I laughed at him, and I said, "Addie, tell him I'm sorry." I said, "But I'm not going to argue with you on the Bible." I said, "It's another case of we'll agree to disagree," because he wanted to know about when the 1,000-year reign and Satan's coming back to rule, and Christ is going to have his kingdom. And after we left, I told Addie, I said, "You need to get him the concordance we got." And carry it to him and let him study it, and try to get him some more material, because now he's a good man. It's just got to get him out of. He's been going to the Adventist church, Pentecostal. One of them over there. He don't go to the Orthodox. He's been going to another church, and with him not being able to walk, he watches a lot of TV, and he gets a lot of religious stations and watches them also. That's where a lot of this come from. And I asked Addie, I said, "Do they not have no Church of Christ stations?" He said, "No, they can't get them over there. They don't get them over there." So he's been watching a lot of denomination over there. But when he gets back to Craiova in this winter, I'm hoping Addie and them, they may be able to, and whoever's there at the time, can talk to him and study with him some. Went to Valistantia. This was on the way, and I told Mark the reason I took this picture is, if y'all remember not long ago in Acts, he talked about they went to the house and went to the gate, and they were fences. Well, this is the fences. This is part of a fenced house. That's the fence. There's the gate. There's another fence with a gate, and you just keep looking, and that's all it is. And they're all different kind of fences. One may be wood, one metal. They're getting a little better than they was when we first went, because a lot of them might have been just barbed wire or wire, and some still are. But that's how they connect. That's how they got their section. This was in Valistantia. We had a class down there. There's Marinelle. That's Gabby. I don't think Dan's there. That might be. No, I don't think that's Dan. But we have a good study at Valistantia. Marinelle, he's really good there studying with them and gets them coming to church. And they ask questions also. In fact, if y'all remember the first trip we went on, I told you I nearly got Brandon married when I made a comment I had an unmarried son. Well, that would have been his wife. Because she was about that little, maybe a few years older than Brandon. But anyway, that would have been Brandon's wife. Now that's Addie again in our study. You'll find out I don't have too many pictures. And this is one of my I call these my National Geographic moments. Because I never dreamed in my life that I'd see some of the things I've seen, everything that thought I'd see storks. But right across the street from Valistantia, there's a stork nest. And this year is the first year I got to see both storks in the nest. And actually I was sitting there and I heard a clicking noise, and I wondered what it was, and they were in their mating ritual. And I like I said, you go through some National Geographic moments while you're over there too. So it's fun. This is the building, the old church building that they're in now. This is the driveway that they poured last year. Back here is where they're building the new church building. And I got some pictures on here that I'll show you that they actually, when we was leaving, the week we was leaving, they got started on the building. And I believe I got some pictures in here that'll show you. But it's took them this long to get the stuff and get everything ready. One of the problems, they built this house here right before we started, or they was going to start on the church, give them a little bit of problems. Because sometimes the neighbors get close to the fence. They don't want you to be close to your fence over there. But they worked it out with them. And hopefully by the end of this year, maybe, if things go right and they get the materials, they may have the church built. All right, this is me getting baptized, the 3 people I baptized. This gentleman right here, he was in the study. You can't see. This is Christinelle and Claudia. That's the couple that I married. I didn't take no pictures in there. I didn't even think about it. But we had a study with them. Claudia wanted to be baptized. She said, "I'm ready. I want to be baptized." And I said, "Okay, great. We'll baptize you." Well, Addie, thank goodness he was there, because he asked Claudia a question, and I said, "What did you just say?" And he said, "I asked her if she was married." And I said, "Is she?" And he said, "No, they're not married. They're living together." And I said, "Claudia, I can't baptize you. I'm sorry." And she said, "Well, I want to get married." And I looked over at Christinelle, and I said, "Christinelle, do you want to get married?" "Yeah, I want to marry her. But the big problem is money. Everything over there, they have to buy a license, they have to get blood tests, they have to have the mayor or somebody in official business to marry them. You got to pay them all. Then you got to go pay a priest to remarry you. So it's a lot to do. Plus, some of it has to do with their what we'll call Social Security that they get, the help they get from the government. And we sat in there talking with them over an hour. Marinelle was trying to explain to them Addie. I was trying to explain to them. And I went outside and I called Eddie. And I said, Eddie, and I said, they want to get married. And he said, I know what the problem is. He's done run into it so many times. And I said, well, I can marry him. And he said, yeah, you can marry him, and it'll be right in the sight of the Lord. But also we got to tell them that, look, after you're married, you still got to do what Romanian law says. You need to go get your license and make sure you have everything right. So I went back in, and I looked at Addie, and I said, Addie, I said, do they really want to get married? And he looked at me, and asked them, and they said yes. And Christinelle even said he wanted to get married. And I said, all right, I can marry you. And when I said I could marry you, and Addie translated, I thought Marinelle was going to fall out of his seat. And Addie's jaw dropped and I said yes, I can marry him. And they were tickled. She was tickled to death. He was too, actually, because he wanted to be baptized. Found that out after, so done a service for them, and we headed to the river to baptize them. The river out here was deep and it was swift, so we didn't want to get in there, and found a hole actually bit deep enough for them to sit in and could baptize them. Now get back to this man right here. His name is Mojin Munajin. I can't say it, so I called him Eugene, because that's what it looked like it was spelled like. And anyway, they pulled up in their car to come out to get married. Well, that young man right there come walking down the hill, come up to me, and he said, I want to get baptized, I'm first. And he went into the water. And I said, whoa, buddy, come back. I said, we can't do it just like that. I need to talk to you. So I talked to him, and he told me, he said, yes, I believe what it is to be a true Christian. So I got them all three together and got their confessions, and we went into the water. That's Claudia. Got her baptized. Chris Snell, I got him baptized, was trying to get him up, and he let his feet get out from under him, and he started going down the river, so I had to try to catch him. God, I didn't want him to go to heaven that fast, I tell you. But I don't think I got a picture. No, I don't have a picture of the, but anyway, after we got him baptized and got back on the land, I looked up, and there was a shepherd watching us. He had his goats and his sheep up there watching us, and I don't know what he started babbling about, but he started telling us something, and he finally left. And I told Addie, I said, well, at least we had a shepherd over us too. He was watching. And but y'all, that was an experience right there to be able to baptize these three, and especially baptize them in that river. And that river ain't the cleanest. So when I got back, Eddie made sure I took a bath to get the stuff, because we had animals above us up there. But there's no feeling like it. And the best feeling of it was watching these three people when we got to the bank and got to talking to them, and you call them brother and sister. Is they just, y'all, I don't know, it just, to me, they have a glow to them when they first baptized. And you keep that glow, because now you know you're a part of the best family you can be a part of. You're a part of God's family. Going backwards. I'm going to have to go through this, because I knew I'd start talking too much. This is, again, at the class. That's the people that were there for the class with Marinelle at Valistantia. Then we went back to Patesh. This is Eddie doing the Ukraine study. You'll see this lady again in a minute, but he had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there were 6 Ukrainians there. No, let's see. Yeah, I believe it was 6. This young lady here, you can't see her too good, and I didn't get a good picture of her. That's the interpreter, and she speaks Russian. So most of the Ukraine, they understand Russian. So Eddie would speak. Juana would sort of help translate to her. She would translate to them. She actually married a Romanian national, and that's where she lives at now. But that was a great study. Right there is this lady's husband. You can't see him. He's a gray-headed man. And then after that, Eddie had a class. They stayed for the class. Again, that's the interpreter with her back to us. I might have a better picture here. Just see. Yeah, that's her. That's the interpreter. Well, this is Anna, I believe was her name. Anna, and she's being baptized. Never seen a face as bright as hers when she come up out of the water, was baptized. She wanted to hug everybody, call them brother and sister. And they was after she was baptized at church that Sunday. One of the other ladies that was at the study, Ukrainian lady, said she's ready to be baptized. I ain't heard nothing yet on her, but hoping that she's baptized. But that's the first Ukrainian refugee that was been baptized in Romania. So you can't tell me it ain't worth it to go over there and speak, to study with these people. I had a study with this young man, Alex, done a study with him last year. He brought his girlfriend with him, and Bianca is translating for me. Again, we run into this problem. He's ready to be baptized. He knows, he studies, and he's ready to be baptized. And I said, well, don't wait. I always tell them, don't wait too late. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. But it come down, in his case, to his mother. His mother's Orthodox. And he don't want to upset her. So that's why he won't be baptized right now. And I told him, I said, look, study, think about it. Think about it hard. If you're baptized, you may can get your mother baptized. You may be that example. So I'm hoping sometime between now and the next trip that I find out that he's been baptized. And she really listened and intent. Hope that done good. And I told him, I'm glad you brought her. That helps a whole lot. Ski 2, we had a meeting, a class there with these. Had a good number there. And that's where Juana's with me here. Because she drove. I think Eddie was in Corbin, I believe, is where he had went that day. But we had a good study with them always. Again, they pay attention. They love to study. Ski 2 can't. I think John's there. He's there, but he's sitting in the back there. That's him back there. Him and his son's in the back, right back there. He's the leader, basically the main leader of that church there that gets everything going. And they're always, when you go there, you're going to have a good number for church and for any services you have, any classes you have. Only problem there is it's hard to get them to do a one-on-one study with you. They always want to do it in a class. A man and woman and their daughter wasn't there this time. I really don't know where they're at, if he's having to work or what, but they didn't come in. That's after the class. They always like to take a picture. On the way back, we passed a gypsy wagon, and they still going strong over there with their wagons. You have to, when you're going down the road every once in a while, you have to dodge one because they travel the same road you do. Back in Patesh, they had been bothering me and Eddie for pictures. Bianca, Juana's mother, I didn't tell you this, Juana's mother had heart surgery when we got there. So she wasn't able to be with us for the first few days of it. So she put Bianca in charge. And Bianca's OCD. So whatever went on, if you went and spent money, she made sure she had a receipt. If she needed something done, she got it done. Well, this is where this come out. Harvey wanted some pictures. I don't like to take pictures. Eddie don't, but we got up and we started posing for the pictures. And we made some better ones than that for Harvey, but we posed. Well, this next one is we sent to Harvey that I got mad at Eddie and I just poked him. I was tired of him. But I think Harvey got a kick out of the pictures when we showed him, or when they were sent to him. Also at Craiova, I didn't show none of those pictures, but we went and preached at Crovan, and I went to Cherry Osh, and Eddie, I think, he went to Valley. We got back, we got our suits off and got in our regular clothes to rest, and here come Bianca, and she said, I got to have some pictures of y'all in your church clothes. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart, we done took them clothes off. They don't go on again next Sunday. And Eddie took his off, and he said, no, we ain't doing no pictures. Y'all, for 3 solid hours, about every 5 minutes, she'd come up and said, y'all got your clothes on yet? I need pictures. You go over there and you do something, hey, you got your clothes on yet? I need pictures. So finally, we went and got our clothes back on, let her make pictures. But Corbin, I didn't, for some reason, they didn't send me the pictures that I had at the worship at Corbin and Valley, either one. I had to get with them to send me some. But we were on the way there. This is Roberta. She is a great help. A little bit of a sad story with Roberta is her parents live in Germany. So she's been staying with her grandpa. Well, a couple of years ago, they called and parents called and told Roberta that you're going to come to Germany and live with us. She did not want to go. She wanted to stay here, and she wanted to be at the church. So she was relentless, and they finally agreed. And she has turned out to be a great help in Romania, around Patesh, especially with the youth. She'll teach a youth class at Corbin. That's what she's doing with us. But what they didn't tell me is she gets car sick. And it's a little over an hour drive. By the time we got there, she was sick. I took that picture. I shouldn't have took the picture, but I did. And I let her sit in the front seat. We went from there to Valley, which is another hour drive. And when we got to Valley, we went and ate at KFC before church started. You can't hardly see. You remember we talked about Miss Dinka so much. That's her there. She teaches. That's Bianca's mother that went with us. These are our drivers. When we got to Corbin, I asked them, I said, y'all come in and y'all have church with us. Listen to the lesson. And they did. Yeah, it surprised me. It surprised me that he did, but he come in and listened. I've talked, this is Marcel, and I've talked to him last year. But from Corbin to Vucha, me and him had an intense study. Bianca, and it was thanks to Bianca actually, because she said we started out, and he loved that man. I thought I liked to talk. This man loves to talk, and he's a good tour guide. He'll tell you anything about the country and what's going on and where it's at. But and then he talked about the Bible, and Bianca said, "Well, study with him." I said, "All right." I said, "Michelle, what do you understand about the church?" Y'all, he's another one. He's right there. He's another one over there he can be baptized except for one thing. He believes that his baptism as a child is all right. He says, I'm good. And I said, no, you're not. I said, we just talked about it. You know you're not. He said, well, that's my belief, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm hoping that one day that he sees the light and understands. He's also Christina's neighbor, too. That's how he got to start driving for us. But I love him. I love studying with him because he'll talk and he'll study. But y'all, the biggest problem we have over there is tradition. They stick to these traditions. Orthodox, if it's tradition of being with family, it's just so hard to get them out of it. I was really and truly surprised that the older lady that we talked about at first was baptized, because I mean, she was really wanting to be stout in the tradition. That may be the end of it, and it's about time to quit. But y'all, I'll end on this. I want y'all to know that I love y'all very much, and I appreciate the opportunity y'all give me to go over there. Appreciate all the help we get, but I appreciate the prayers, because you need them. That church, they need them over there too. I wished each and every one of you could go. I really do. I wished our youth could go over there just to see what it's like to be in a place where you don't get everything you want. and it's not at your hands. You don't get to go take a bath in a shower or a bathtub. You go out and you run water and you heat it up, and that's how you take your baths. You go. They're real big on school in the cities. They in the villages they go to schools there. But y'all, it's a whole different world. It is a whole different world. It's truly changed my life forever. Met some great, wonderful people over there, and I hope I get to make many more trips over there. And again, I appreciate what y'all do so much. That's done for us that we're able to do this, and I hope we continue to do it to the end of time. I thank y'all. Appreciate y'all's attention. Tommy, close us out with a prayer, please.
Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you, Father, for the hour that we have had here to look at the work that is being done in Romania. We're grateful, Father, for this work. We're grateful, Father, for our fellow Christians there. We pray your blessings upon them, that you would be with them, be with those that are close to obeying your gospel, that they may think deeply and in their hearts as to the importance of obeying your will. Thank you so much, Father, for Randall, for Eddie, for all the workers that go there and teach and preach your word. Help us, Father, to always do your will each and every day here in our nation. And pray, Father, that we will always set the right example for everyone and that we come in contact with always. Thank you so much for the many blessings of life. And thank you, Father, also for the greatest gift of all, and that's your Son. And it is through him we pray. Amen.